From the shadows of the cyberpunks, Satoshi gave birth to a new dawn. Satoshi with his vision, decentralization, and proof of one, Bitcoin was born. You feel the shift beneath your feet. Peer to peer, we break the blockchain we meet. Trust in code, not in the same. We are all Satoshi. This is what we've all been waiting for. Together we trust, together we hold. One block, one chain, tick-tock, next block. Every 10 minutes, Bitcoin the path we made. Together we build, together we grow. We are all Satoshi, we are Bitcoin. This system's alive and we won't let go. And we won't let go. La-da-dee, la-da-da. Hey-ya, hey-ya, ooh-ah, ooh-ah. And we won't let go. Together we trust, together we hold. One block, one chain. Tick-tock, next block, every 10 minutes. Bitcoin, the path we've made. Whoa, the path we've made. Together we build, together we grow. We are all Satoshi and we are Bitcoin. This system's alive and we won't let go. And we won't let go. From the shadows of the cyberpunks, Satoshi gave birth to a new dawn. He gave birth to a new dawn. Birth to a new dawn. From the shadows of the cyberpunks, Satoshi gave birth to a new dawn. Satoshi with his vision, decentralization, and proof of one, Bitcoin was born. You feel the shift beneath your feet. Peer to peer, we break the blockchain we meet. Trust in code, not in the same. We are all Satoshi. This is what we've all been waiting for. Together we trust, together we hold. One block, one chain, tick-tock, next block. Every 10 minutes, Bitcoin the path we made. Together we build, together we grow. We are all Satoshi, we are Bitcoin. This system's alive and we won't let go. And we won't let go. La-da-dee, la-da-da. Hey-ya, hey-ya, ooh-ah, ooh-ah. And we won't let go. Together we trust, together we hold. One block, one chain. Tick-tock, next block, every 10 minutes. Bitcoin, the path we've made. Whoa, the path we've made. Together we build, together we grow. We are all Satoshi and we are Bitcoin. This system's alive and we won't let go. And we won't let go. From the shadows of the cyberpunks, Satoshi gave birth to a new dawn. Give right to a new dawn. To a new dawn. From the shadows of the cyberpunks, Satoshi gave birth to a new dawn. Satoshi with his vision, decentralization and proof of work, Bitcoin was born. You feel the shift beneath your feet. Peer to peer, we break the blockchain, we meet. Trust in code, not in the state. We are all Satoshi, this is what we've all been waiting for. Together we trust, together we hold. One block, one chain, tick-tock, next block. Every 10 minutes, Bitcoin the path we made. Together we build, together we grow. We are all Satoshi, we are we call Bitcoin. This system's alive and we won't let go. Hey, and we won't let go. La-da-dee, la-da-da. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. And we won't let go. Together we trust, together we hold. One block, one chain. Tick-tock, next block, every 10 minutes. Bitcoin, the path we've made. Whoa, the path we've made. Together we build, together we grow. We are all Satoshi, we are Bitcoin. Bitcoin, this system's alive and we won't let go. Hey, and we won't let go. From the shadows of the cyberpunks, Satoshi gave birth to a new dawn. He gave birth to a new dawn. To a new dawn.
Hello everyone, here we are again as every week discussing about Bitcoin, discussing about treasury companies. Again, Strategy announced the increase of the cash reserve, and the question everywhere is, are they diluting shareholders too much because this week didn't sell Bitcoin? We are going to discuss this and more things with my friend Batistoshi. How are you doing?
Hey guys, happy to be back. Yeah, we have plenty of things to discuss and strategies again at the center of attention. So yeah, happy to discuss together.
Excellent. And here I am with Immortal. How are you doing?
Hello everybody. Yeah, let's do strategy focus today.
Let's focus in the announcement of strategy that yesterday. The surprise of this week was that Sailor, usually on Sunday, he posts the graphic with the orange dots. This weekend, he didn't post anything. So I said, what is going to do Sailor? Probably they don't announce anything this week, but yesterday they announced that they increased their cash reserve up to 4.8 billion, and they repurchased 132 million of stretch without selling Bitcoin, all with the ATM, and now they have 2.8 years of dividends to pay? I want to hear, guys, your opinion.
Yeah, I think it's similar to, I mean, my position is similar to the one we had last week. So I'm not very happy as a shareholder or as a Bitcoiner, but I think they want to show to the market that they can offset fully the convertible debts, especially the one with very high conversion price. So it's, I think it's very likely that they will go around 6 billion in total, because they want to say to the investor and to the institution, look, we have the exact amount of the convertible debt already in our balance sheet, so our net leverage is effectively zero. So you shouldn't care much about the conversion price, if we can do it or not, if it's higher than our price of MSTR, so that they can convert into cash and buy back. But again, it starts to be too much in my view, and especially if you sell MSTR at this very compressed price. I know that from the website is 1.06 XMNAV, so technically is not dilution. But yeah, I think a lot of shareholders are a bit pissed over the last weeks or months. But yeah, I think their target is very long term, and they really want to offset fully the convertible debt.
Yeah, and I came to peace with the dollars reserve sheet after we watched the Tron guys explaining it with an Excel on the back end. So the math behind it's more clear to me now why they might increase the reserve well above up to 7 billion. Okay. Because at that point, technically you cover all the debt. So literally you go leverage negative at that point. Which also affect another piece of the math, which is the bottom price at where strategy gets into trouble for not being able to pay dividends and all the obligations, which is at this point with the at last week point at 4.5 billion, the price Bitcoin coming down should be around 2,500 for the company start having troubles. So it's a 96% drawdown from here, where we are already like 50-55% drawdown. So it's an almost impossible scenario. And if you raise the reserves up to 7 billion, that number even will go negative, which means Bitcoin will have to magically trade negative in order to strategy to have problems. So that mathematically explains why it's important the reserves, and why it's also important for the rating agencies to consider that. So I came to peace after watching that, running the number myself. Now it makes sense. I thought it would have been only something like a round number around 5 billion, or like a percentage of the total market cap, maybe around 10%. But this number, just to keep it a little above of the total debt, make also a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Of course, nobody likes, as a shareholder, most of the shareholders, and especially the Bitcoiners, nobody likes to get diluted. And also, we will have repeated this since a couple of months now, that the only problem that happens with Stretch and with strategy is that Bitcoin price went down. There is nothing related to the company, because even though before they had like 8-9 months to cover the dividends, so the only problem was that Bitcoin price went from 85 to 57. Now, when Bitcoin price recover, everything will go back again. But I get the point. I'm not Sailor. I'm not the guys of True North. So the analysis, I won't say that make me happy, because for me, he still have to wait until Bitcoin goes up. But at least we can see a logic on this this frenzy of growing the cash reserve. That if strategy reaches 7 billion in cash reserve, Bitcoin price needs to be negative for strategy to fail. So this will kick out all the FUD and all these haters that come and say that strategies on a death spiral or all this crap.
I'm not sure it will remove all the fad because there will always be a new fad made up.
Yeah, probably.
Right now, they have forgotten MSCI for a while. The same fad was created exactly at this time last year. Now we have it back. Maybe when strategies start to fix one thing, the fad creators
something else. Yeah, and I think as we remember all the calls about the bears on Bitcoin saying that Bitcoin will go to 10K, and now with this move, the strategy team say, yeah, now we can go also to 2.5K and we still survive. So they want really to dispel and destroy all the negativity around it, but the market needs still more time to digest. And again, I think as Fernando pointed out, it's a derivative of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin start to recover, all the FUD, all the problem on strategy will slowly recover as well, and it will disappear. So we shouldn't remember again that strategy and all the Bitcoin equities are proxy leveraged Bitcoin play. So if Bitcoin goes down and it's in a brutal, maybe not brutal, but in a winter, those companies will be in a worse condition. But the same applies when the spring will arrive. So when Bitcoin will go up, those companies should perform theoretically much better. So it's the two sides of the coin, and we need to take both sides. We cannot just accept one and discard the other.
Yes, agree on that. But yes, and on the other side, of course, I think most of the time as a Bitcoiner, but to analyze this, we need to think not as Bitcoiners, because for the big capital or the institutional capital that Sailor wants to target with these instruments, you cannot just say, no, just wait until Bitcoin goes up. So they need to see action. And these movements that they have been doing for the last 3-4 months, it shows that the engine, the strategy engine works perfect. So it's another test. But I hope Bitcoin goes up as soon as possible so we can see the strategy and stretch numbers up. But this week was over 95. Yesterday dropped a little bit, but we are seeing things of recovery for both, for the stock and for the preferred.
Regarding the price, yesterday didn't react at all, stretch. It did last week, but yesterday nothing happened. Actually, MSTR went up, while stretch went a little bit down. So you cannot see the things in the short term. In the long term, it will have an effect, but still, until the price of Bitcoin doesn't show a real recovery, I think it's going to be difficult for stretch and SATA is a little bit closer. Yesterday was 99.5, so it seems like SATA is slowly grinding up to par, but strategy having a harder time for that.
Yeah, I think this could be also the other point, guys. I don't know if you want to go deeper about that, but we told also when SATA was launching the daily dividend that Strive and SATA already have almost the final version of this product, whereas strategy being like 50 times bigger, being a different incorporation, they need to do more bureaucratic procedure from changing some of the legal framework from their own products. They need to go slowly, but again, strategy now is bi-monthly. They will probably go over the next year closer to what SATA is doing, and they want to get rid of the convertible debt. So SATA is much more nimble, agile, and they already proved to have a better product and a better balance sheet, but they're like 50 times smaller. So you take the risk of a much smaller company that might get affected in a different way. So strategy, in my view, can only get better from here, from the balance sheet and also from the product. So I think the goal is to become similar to SATA, but it takes time for the bigger company to adjust, adapt, and finally arrive to similar terms and similar situation as them. But again, they keep buying Bitcoin, which is very positive. It's very impressive that I think Strive almost every week added Bitcoin over the last months, despite brutal bear market, despite everything. So
yes, except last week they didn't buy, but this week they have
overall,
announced 7.9 more Bitcoin. They have nearly 21,000 Bitcoin. And the other goal is that they announced that they have just paid her 50th straight day of dividends. This is amazing. This is a huge goal, and huge congratulations for Zeta team that they keep paying the dividend every day, even though we are facing a brutal bear market. Bitcoin is moving lateral, it's not picking up, it's not going up, and they keep paying the dividend. Talking about the strategy.
Back to stretch a little bit, there are a couple of points. One of the questions asked yesterday was, when stretch comes back to par, what if instead of using that to buy more Bitcoin, you use it to buy MSTR? Or just to increase the dollar reserve? And he say, we are flexible on that. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. So it's one of the options that they might have. And the other question related to stretch coming to par was, why you don't let it flow a little bit? As Matt Cole says, they might do that for SATA. And Taylor's answer was here totally different. He said that that product, it already exists. It's, I don't remember if it was Strike or Strike. One of these actually behave that way. It's kind of around par, and it can float freely. The difference is that this product have way less volume, like 20 times less volume than Stretch. And that is, in his explanation, because Stretch is more predictable. Investors, even short sellers, know that the price should be around par at some point. So that incentivizes more volume coming in. If you should let it flow, as the other preferred stocks do, then the volume is much less because you don't have as much incentive for traders to come in. So that was a couple of interesting points regarding stretch coming to par.
Yes, and picking up what we were talking before about the FUD, of course, hater will always find a way to attack Sailor, and this is gonna be like this forever, even when Bitcoin is back to all-time high, when Bitcoin is 200K and strategy is $500 US, $700 US, they will find a way to spread FUD and attack Sailor. This week, we saw in our Spanish group that the MSCI FUD had come back.
Yes.
It's back, this FUD. What do you think about that, Marco? I think it's stupid, but I want to hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I think even better than listening from me is what Fong Li replied yesterday on the Q&A session, said that MSCI, I mean, in his view, and of course in Sailor, in all the team view, and I think also other treasury company, the view is very similar, is wrong to exclude those companies because they are doing their own business. It's a new kind of business. It's a new kind of activity built upon Bitcoin. It's a different asset class. Everything is new. So try to stop this new innovation or this new kind of companies will be pretty silly from an index. And but even if they exclude them, Fong Li said that it's just 3 or 4% of their own shares outstanding. So yeah, it might be a small hit. It might be some kind of more FUD, more problems, but they said it's immaterial because again, it's 3%. And for Bitcoin more broadly, it's 0 point something. It's totally irrelevant. So if they do, it will be probably a wrong decision. But again, it depends. Maybe it's a politicized decision. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe there is something behind this closed door. We don't know. But again, even if they exclude them, it's just 3% of the float. It's not a big deal. Strategy will keep going on. Bitcoin will keep going on, and yeah, I think it's not really that material. I agree with with the management team on that.
Yeah, I think we do this analysis last year when the first time of this FAD came in, the first movie about this. And I think at the time it was something like 2.5 billion in the year of inflows that was coming from MSCI, which now is proven that even during the bear market, strategy could raise that money in 1 month. So that's why it is immaterial. That's why Fonley confirmed that it's immaterial, because it's immaterial in terms of the size of capital. But some of these FAD creators try to show it as if it's going to be the end of strategy, the end of the war. Like if that would be being kicked out from the S&P 500, that would probably be a big deal. But this index, it's just some minor stuff.
I remember that this FAD was the beginning of the year, like end of last year, beginning of this year. I discussed this with Jamie in Roxham Studio in Hong Kong, that she was so worried about that. And I said, this is bullshit, this is FAD. First of all, MSCI, they will not kick out strategy, and did this happen? And in the case if they kick out strategy, nothing is going to happen with the price, because I think that the 2.5 billion is the total amount that strategy received since they were accepted in the index in 2024. So it's much less than 2.5 billion a year. And if we talk about numbers, because that's the way numbers kill all the FAD, in the last 2 weeks, strategy got more than $1 billion US. This week was 150 plus 132, 282 million US. Last week, previous week was more than 750 million US. So more than $1 billion US in 2 weeks. So there is no way for FAD.
The other interesting question that came out of the Q&A was someone asking why strategy don't buy cash flow generating businesses, like for Orange Juice, the Lightning project, or for example, Smarter Web in the UK, or I think there was another company, Metaplanet, I think bought some company. So, and the answer was pretty straightforward and predictable, which is that loses the focus on the main goal, which is making Stretch work, making Stretch the biggest credit creation backed by Bitcoin in history. So it's a very ambitious plan to take strategy to the $1 trillion club through credit, through Stretch. So for that, the only focus right now would be on to fix Stretch, bring it back to par, investing whatever money they need to invest to get it done. And that's why focusing on other small things is not relevant.
And we don't have to, we cannot compare strategy with all the other companies. Strategy is a monster, a big monster with 840,000 Bitcoin. Of course, with all the respect to Smarter Web company and all the other treasury companies. Of course, Smarter Web can acquire a marketing agency or any little other business that can drive cash flow, and they can help to raise, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 Bitcoin with this acquisition. Strategy is playing in a total other league. So they are not going to buy a small company. If they buy a company, they need to buy a company that generates a cash flow that can let strategy buy tens of thousands Bitcoin per week or per month. So that's the difference. Compare strategy, again, with all the respect that Smarter Web company and Andrew Webley and all the other have, we cannot compare the one with the other.
Yeah, and again, on that side, I think everybody is very focused on the company to execute. And again, we should remember that we are through a bear market. All Bitcoin equities have massive exposure to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down, they go much lower. And again, Bitcoin went down for 54% from top to bottom. If the bottom, as we say, is between February and June period, I think in June was 58 or 57, something like that.
57.
So let's say minus 54%. Strategy, if we just remove the one single day that spiked to more than $500, I think the top was around 430, 440, which I would say is more acceptable to define the top, because really we went to 500 just for a few hours. So it was completely, let's say, crazy. So if the top was 430 and the bottom is 95 or 90, it's minus 78, minus 79. So again, it's in line with what we should expect with our 1.5x amplification on Bitcoin. So again, I understand all the sadness about the price, both on Bitcoin and on strategy. But again, if we just see mathematically, it's something that we should expect if Bitcoin goes down 55%. So again, I'm happy to see that the management team is very solid, that they keep going and stay focused on the main thing, which is restore confidence on Stretch, because Stretch is the real engine that they can propagate more Bitcoin acquisition. And again, they just sold 7,000 Bitcoin, but for the last year, they are still up 145,000 BTC on a net basis. So they just sell 7,000, yes, but they still bought more than 100,000. So what's the big deal? There is no issue. And again, the active management plus the fact that they can sell Bitcoin without crashing the market, I think it's another two big points that the market needs to digest, but they are overall positive.
The other point is that Stretch is a product that is more fit for institutional investors, but in the first year of history, 80% was retail and only 20% institutional investors. What Fonli said yesterday was that now that relationship moved into something like 70-30, 70% retail, 30% institutional investment, which proves that there is more interest now for institutions to come in, or there was more time for them to digest. That usually these kind of things take to have a track record of 2 or 3 years before institutional money start coming in. So meanwhile, in the first year, I think Strategy have built a track record with ups and downs, with super high moments where I remember these weeks where he was printing 30,000 Bitcoins in a week, with very low weeks, as a few weeks ago when we have the last bottom. The Stretch lost part violently until up to 70-something.
72.
So it experienced everything in this fair year. I think it's a good track record to have proven the highlights and also how we are coming back out of a big knockout.
So yes, and as Diego said, we experienced everything that proved that the engine that Sailor has been building since 2020 is working. It's working as it was designed. So for all the haters, for all the fathers, we have strategy for a long time. And I will laugh at yourself when strategy become the biggest company in the world.
Yeah, I think this is not off the table, to be honest. It's again, now it seems that nothing is working, that everything is crumbling apart, but it's not the case, because strategy is still I mean, again, in 6 years to move from less than $1 billion in valuation to 50 or 45, whatever is right now, it's like, it's a crazy run up. It's a crazy business model. It's an amazing new way, and they are I would say that it's like a monopoly on the digital credit and a monopoly on the Bitcoin potential services provider, etc. So I guess it's pretty unique to have a monopoly. Every time someone has a digital monopoly, it's something that as an investor or someone as an enthusiast you should put an eye on. So the 1 trillion club, I think it's possible. Again, it's a factor of when Bitcoin will go much higher than here. But again, it's not, for me, for the next decade, it's pretty assured that it will happen, because again, we know the trajectory of Bitcoin.
It's a matter of time, because we all know that Bitcoin will go to 100, 200, 500, 1 million, 10 million. So it's a matter of time. And if the company has, they will go back to buy Bitcoin in a few months. They will start buying Bitcoin. They will reach the 1 billion Bitcoin mark. And when Bitcoin gets the price that it have, they come back to the price it have to have, will go to infinite. I'm super bullish.
Yeah, and the math is pretty easy. I think next year they will arrive to 1 million target, the Satoshi stack. So again, if in 5, 7, 8, or even 10 years, let's say even 10 years, Bitcoin goes to 1 million, if you have 1 million BTC and 1 million per coin is 1 trillion, just purely based on this very simple first grade math. So again, it's matter of time. Every time, we think it's different, but it's not different. Bitcoin needs time, because it's a network. It needs time for adoption. It needs time to get inside financial education. It gets time for institution to adopt these new products. So time is the most important variable on Bitcoin, and also on those Bitcoin equities. So again, I think it's not off the table, and it will happen. Again, maybe we are too bullish on the time frame. Maybe 2030 for 1 million BTC can be off the table. It's up to everybody. But over the next decade, I would be very surprised if Bitcoin is not hitting 1 million. Because again, the US just broke the 40 trillion debt. They probably go to 45 in 1 or 2 years. They probably go to 55 or 60 in the next presidency. So, yeah.
No, the debt will reach 50 trillion before Trump leaves office. So, imagine.
Yeah,
imagine.
It's insane.
So that's the point. And again, like, we will see how the haters will change the narrative, and I will have my T-shirt, instead of "I told you so" and the O is the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin logo. The O will be sailor face.
You need to print a few copies of the T-shirt. I want one.
Of course, we're gonna do it. But again, we need to fight. What we learned last year is not to be so bullish with the time frame. This is an amazing phrase you said, because we all went through the hype of Samson Mao, Tom Lee, and all these people saying 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. We just need to wait and let the power law work. Of course, next decade we will see Bitcoin to 1 million, and probably something happened that make it happen faster. But in the meantime, we have to wait.
I wanted to show you. Wait, maybe Fernando, can you do it, because I don't have my X account on this browser. If you go on River, on Twitter, River just posted out a very nice chart about the exponential growth of the US debt, and it's that's why Bitcoin is gonna be to 1 million in the next decade.
River, let me check.
It's like a chart in which they plot all the debt, and it's becoming more vertical every 4 years. I think it's
this, right?
Yes, it's very telling. Yes.
Let me check if I can.
So very quickly, what we can see is that the number is dramatically bigger, because again, I remember 25 trillion in 2020, and now it's more than 40 trillion in just 6 years. So the problem is not the amount. It's also the amount, but it's the degree at which this amount is increasing. And we can see from the 70s to today that it's becoming more and more vertical by every presidency. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next presidency it will be even more vertical, and then it will go completely,
It will surpass the 90 degrees.
So yeah, it's pretty impressive to see this on a chart.
Yeah, and we don't have to forget why Bitcoin will win, because few days ago we saw the 50 of August of 1971, 55 years since Richard Nixon said we are going to temporarily stop the convertibility between dollar and gold. And this is the consequence. We need a system that they cannot stop printing, because if they don't stop printing, they have a civil war. So they will keep printing, no matter what. So we need an asset that is not possible to be printed and is capped to 21 million. That's why we need Bitcoin, and that's why Bitcoin is going to win. That's the thing. Incredible. I love this graphic.
Yeah, that's a very easy TLDR for new people coming in Bitcoin and say, Bitcoin is not gonna, it's impossible, it comes to a million. I would just show this chart and say that China probably similar, that the big G7 nation are probably similar. And that's why it's very simple, because it's the denominator that is getting destroyed by money printing and by fiscal deficit and by expanding the monetary base. And that's why Bitcoin is growing. So it's very, very easy to explain if you see this chart over 50 years. And the gradients is getting worse and worse every presidency. So nothing stops this train again. So
yeah, and the other thing is, for the people who still believe in democracy, check that the colors, red, blue, no matter which puppet you put on the White House, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Look at Obama, Trump, Biden. And Trump is parallel to Biden.
Yeah, and I think paradoxically it would be much, much better if the Democrats with the socialists will win in 2028, because this thing will go completely vertical and much higher even than the Obama or Biden administration. So honestly, I think I would cherish for AOC and all the left guys, because again, they will go much, much crazier than even Trump. So
the thing is, for one side, the thing is, probably, I always think what would have happened if Kamala won the presidency. Probably we wouldn't have had Bitcoin at 100K in December 2024, but probably now Bitcoin would be 500K because of all of the printing. No, but what I don't like to Democrats to win is because they will come up with all this woke agenda again and all this gender and all the thing. But at the end of the day, you see that economically, they are both the same shit. Look at the Biden and Trump two parallel lines. It means that nothing happened. Even that Trump came with the Doge and all this fiscal adjustment, nothing happened.
Yeah. And I mean, guys, look also on the Trump one. The first line, it's kind of similar to what we have now, but then on the second part of the administration goes completely, boom, vertical. So I think it will look like something similar, because as you said, Fernando, if they target, not us, they target 50 trillion by the end of the presidency, it means 10 trillion over the next 24 months. It means that this line will go again, as in Trump 1, completely vertical, because they need to refinance a lot of debt, and they need to find a way to do so. And
and today we share an interesting news in our Spanish stream, that was that for first time gold has surpassed US bonds in the reserves asset of the countries. So nobody wants dollar. So they should have print more. They must print faster.
But if the increase of the debt will pick up speed by these last 24 months, then the Fed will need to cut rates for sure. Two things combined could not exist in the same universe. Imagine rising the money printing and at the same time rising rates. That's absolutely first recipe for destruction.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
I'm not an expert on that side, but from what I'm seeing and what I'm reading from other people on on the topic, they try to adjust how to count inflation. They try to change how to modify the basket of things that goes inside. They want to have reforms. They want to see as this new technological boom under a different perspective. So the likelihood that they find a way to reduce interest rate because they need to accommodate 10 trillion of refinancing the debt is very likely to me. Or at least they won't probably hike much more. So there will be probably other months of this complete chaos. We don't understand what's going on, but I think they need to reduce interest rate because, again, you need to refinance 10, 11 trillion in 12 months.
And on the other side, it increases more. We also share in the Spanish stream the K-shaped economy, where the big winners are the ones that have asset, and the people that don't have asset are the losers. So if you are in the if you need more arguments to think that you need Bitcoin, this is one more. No financial advice.
Yeah.
So let's start. I love this graphic. This is amazing. I love because it's easy. Anyone can understand. It's not fancy, and you can see the problem.
And you understand that there is no real democracy because the both parties agree on the exact same thing, that is spending, that is increasing the budget, the military, etc., etc., etc. So
yeah, no matter who you vote, your country is down. It's like in the Simpsons episode when there is an alien trying to be the president of the United States. No matter who you vote, your planet is doomed. So let's see, but we are not doomed because we have Bitcoin. So anything else we have to discuss?
Maybe something you told me about Capital B. I didn't read the news. They bought more BTC this week.
Yeah, let me point because I like Capital B. Capital B. Capital. Well, They just bought 5 more Bitcoin this week. They announced that they bought 5 more Bitcoin. Now they have 3,145. And one of the things that I like from Capital B is that when they announce, let me search in LinkedIn, probably Capital B. Yes, in LinkedIn is easier because I like the announcement that they do. Let me share the screen. So I like the announcement. The Capital B confirms the acquisition of 5 BTC for euro 0.28 million. They always, when they say we buy, last time they bought 1 Bitcoin and they say we bought 1 Bitcoin at 0.05 million. So I like the way that they point. They have a total of 3,145 Bitcoin and a BTC yield of 2.14% year to date. So good congratulations to Capital B and Andrew Webley, Alexandre Lycet and his team, that they are doing a great job. Andrew is also doing a great job. But you see, all the companies keep sucking. It's 1 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin.
Yeah, the focus one, yes. The tourist, we saw some over the last months that sold the Bitcoin, that they completely shut off the strategy. But the few that really embark into this journey, actually, they never sold any Bitcoin. They just keep adding to their own much smaller stack. But the trajectory is clear, and what they want to pursue is clear. So. But again, I think it's in line also with what we forecasted maybe 1 year ago, in which probably there is no need of having all those hyper-financialized companies in every jurisdiction. It's enough to have few of them very convicted, very strongly about this strategy, and then for other companies to add BTC to their balance sheet with the excess cash flow. It's an amazing strategy, but to become this financialized player that do this arbitrage strategy, etc., is much more complex goal to reach. But again, the few that position themselves well, I think they will thrive over the next maybe 1, 2, 3 years. Again, with question mark on the timing, but it's inevitable that it will become a much bigger company.
Excellent. So I think we don't have anything else more to discuss. To finish, Marco, I want you to tell our audience how can they find you.
Yeah, on X at Batistoshi93, and again, I'm not really active over the last couple of months because Bitcoin X is a bit toxic, as we know, especially after the BIP 110 and all the other problems we had over the last couple of weeks and months. But hopefully we will be more active, and I will try also to write more article and go back to basic also on Bitcoin, because it's now the time to learn more and to dedicate more time to it fundamentally. So yeah,
Now is the time to learn and to build. So because bull market is coming. Bull market is coming.
yeah,
So.
and the bull market, it's easy. You get traction, you get people texting you to have podcasts, to have more analysis, or you just write something that can become viral. Not necessarily because it's an amazing content, but it's because most people are joining, and there is this frenziness. But in the bear market, if you can stick with the plan, I think it's a very good signal for what's coming next.
Yeah, and our plan is to be here every week talking about Bitcoin, talking about treasuries, as we started last year. I think more than 1 year talking every week. Some weeks we are not possible, but we try to do every week. And thank you very much, Marco, for being here.
See you
next week.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, thank you very much for being on the other side. If you like the episode, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, follow Marco on social media, because doing so, you help us a lot to paint the world orange. Share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate, because we must reach 8 billion people and give them the orange pill. See you next week. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Marco.